We are waiting for anyone else, all right?
Nope. It's everybody.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with public input. If you need to address the board or have an item that is not on the agenda, excluding personnel items, please come forward to the podium, state your name and concerns, and presentations will be limited to 3 minutes. Items will be considered, but no action will be taken at this time. Okay, I guess someone's coming forward. We'll move on to delegations. Do we have any delegations? No? Okay, so additions or deletions from the agenda? Have anything? So if I get a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll motion to approve. I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Next we have the minutes. Oh, November.
That's not the last meeting we had.
You guys haven't even had to have me
Yeah.
in this time.
You guys a second to read it before? Any questions?
Before you guys approve the minutes, I just want to take a moment. I haven't had a chance since November. I wanted to thank the board for the generous donation of the village in honor of my daughter. I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll motion to approve.
I'm going to second. Got a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, say no. Motion carried. Bills. There's the pile.
Yeah. So, board members, Stephanie Elwine, City Administrator, I apologize about the huge, long list of bills there, but I did go through what's been happening since your last meeting, and don't want to throw Kevin on the spot here and have him speak to any of that. I can certainly answer any questions that you may have on the bills that were presented. We did just close out the year, so we will be looking at supplemental appropriations at either the last meeting in March or the first meeting in April. My goal on that is to make sure that we have enough funds from 21 appropriated in 22 to complete the projects that were started in 21 and not finished yet. So that's been our goal, trying to work through and make sure we can get that done. I can answer any questions that you have, or anybody had a chance to go through those yet?
I didn't have any questions.
Okay.
I looked at them. I don't know if anybody else. With that, then I guess if nobody has questions, can I get a motion to approve the bills? Second. A motion and a second to approve the bills. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Department reports. Yeah, I think so.
All right. So since we've last met, we've had a busy few months here. We had a bunch of programs that had started and have already finished now. So all of our wrestling program, our youth traveling basketball league is done. We still have a few programs going on. We're finishing up our swim lessons, the fall-winter swim lessons here. They'll be done about the first week of April. And then we have 2 leagues still going on, our adult co-ed volleyball and our men's basketball league. And those will be wrapping up here in March, wrapping up. Right now, we're just about ready to hand in our final proof of our summer brochure. That's been going really well. We've been working on that since early December. We'll have that out for into the public the week of April 4th, and then we'll start our online registration for the summer on April 18th at 8 o'clock. So that's, I think the brochure looks good so far. So at the rec center, it's been very busy. Great winter. We posted 2 swim meets since we last met. The one in December, early in December, they had about 325 swimmers. That was a 3-day event. And then this past weekend, we had the state 13 and over swim meet, and that was basically a 4-day event, and that was big. There was a lot of people. It was awesome. They were all over the place. So we ended up closing both of our gyms down so they could use that. We still had our fitness areas open, and we still had people coming in. So it worked out great. We can have a big swim meet, and people can still come and work out. So it worked out really well. We also had our basketball tournament on Saturday as well that we do with the DW women's basketball team. We had 30 teams come into town. Only had 1 drop out because of the weather, but I got one to pick up. So that went over really well, and we got everybody out of here before the snow came. So that was good. Our birthday parties have really picked up, obviously, since the Ramada closed down, and so we've got a lot in the month of March, and we've got some scheduled for April, but we're not sure what we're doing yet with our plaster issue with the pool. So we'll have to see what goes on there. But other than that, we got our pool filled in. The old pool was filled in December, and that was done, like Stephanie said. And so we're looking at our second phase, hopefully getting completed by the end of 2022 or early on. It all depends on when we can get our HVAC stuff. They're saying it could be a year to get stuff, but the rest of the room should be able to get done. So we're in the process of working through getting that second phase bid. So,
With the state swim meet, did you get complaints about shutting the after-school program down?
We didn't. We only shut it down for the 1 day. It can put some people out, but all of our lobbies were taken up because they used it for their concessions and their T-shirt making and their awards. And so we really had no place for them to go. It's a rough deal, but 1 weekend out of the year. And I'm not sure if we're on the rotation now for next year for a state meet, because I think we've had 3 in a row. And I know, hopefully we get another one, but I'm not sure. So
I would still like, going through that neighborhood that weekend, I would still like to see a shuttle bus or something set up so it can maybe alleviate some of the parking concerns. But
yeah.
I don't know. We can get some kind of.
It wasn't, didn't seem to be too bad because like I said, we still had some members that were able to find a parking spot to come in. So
It might have been timing of when.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Because they take in the state meet, they take a 3-hour break every day. So from about 12:30 to 3-ish, 3:30, they leave. And so we saw a lot of people come in at that time. So yeah. Any other questions? Thank you.
Okay, we're just kind of continuing with our tree removals. We're probably 3/4 done with that for the year. Just been working on some boat docks at the day camp and the campground. We had to take them back shop, kind of rebuild them, repaint them. Repairing some of the wood picnic tables, cutting, splitting firewood for the campground when we can. Doing repairs on snow removal equipment, doing maintenance and oil changes on other equipment, kind of getting it ready for next spring. Just been cleaning up around the shop, organizing buildings, snow removal. We just ordered our new boom mower for our tractor this week. Kiwanis Club, they got the colors chosen for their playground that they're donating for the Kiwanis Woodlot. Got that ordered. Starting to do interviews for seasonal staff, and that's pretty much it. Any questions?
The capital improvement projects last year, didn't we? We got the pontoon boat, right?
Yep, we're working on
Or this,
ordering.
coming this year, yeah. Is that coming soon, or when?
Yeah, I got quotes for them. We just got to go over them. But the boats are so far behind, it might be mid to end of summer before we get it, type of thing.
So with the dredging project, are we going to want to delay that, or are we want to?
I don't think the dredging project would be happening immediately. in the near future. That's probably a couple years out anyways. At most, we might be doing the low-level dam or the,
Yeah. I hate to buy a boat and then have to sit on dry land for 4 years. I don't know if that's an accurate timeline or not, but the dredging, that was, I guess, where I was trying to get. But I
Yep,
know
yep.
it might be.
Yep.
You are looking, okay.
Good?
Go ahead.
Okay. It's been a while, so I'll try to add some things in from the last ones. January was really busy at the ice arena. I think we had tournaments every weekend. We got into February, we hosted the Kiwi Bee on the 18th through the 20th, and that was the last hockey tournament that we hosted. After that, the teams after they go to their state tournament, they start practices, but they call them drop hockey. So maybe they go 3 days a week, now they're only going 2, or if they went 2 days a week, now they're only going 1. All the league games are done. We have a figure skating show this weekend and adult men's league tournament April 8th through the 10th. Figure skating should go till the end of April. They'll start their 3rd session next week. Our staff's just daily cleaning, ice maintenance, a little bit of snow, tree trim removal when we can get outside, starting going through equipment, rink maintenance, and still doing some work on that middle school room we got. We had a pretty good year last year. Total revenue, $97,031 at the ice arena, with $33,451 from open skate, bumper cars, and rentals. The compressors, Kyle Gillespie, called me a few weeks ago. They got all the parts in, so they're putting it together. They got to wire it, insulate it. They're going to wait. It's going to take about 2 weeks when they get here, and if something does go wrong, we could lose ice, so we're going to wait till we take the ice out. They're going to come, put it in, test it, get it not all the way down to 15, 20 degrees, and then they'll come back in probably the end of August. We'll start it back up and make sure everything's good. Cadwell, we got all the posts pulled for the scoreboards. We had some issues. The light wires that go for the field lights, when we pulled a few of the posts, went through the concrete of the post. So we had to get those respliced, and the other ones were right next to them. So we cut those wires and had an electrician come and splice them, so we got more room. We got 2 sets of the posts in, and then the ground froze. We should be getting the 4th scoreboard. It was supposed to be delivered today. I was waiting for it today, so I'm hoping it gets here tomorrow. So then we'll have all 4 scoreboards. If the ground still froze, we'll get the 2 up. And the signs, we got all the signs done. They're ready to go up as well. Yep, almost. Teams were out practicing with the nice weather, so we put some garbage cans out, and had a couple soccer kind of teams out there, but Wesleyan baseball and softball, and I know Mitchell was out there a little bit. Turf update. I got an email a couple hours ago. I emailed this morning, said we're going to have good weather. I sent them the 14-day forecast. They said they will be here on Wednesday. I emailed back to ask about if the ground is still frozen, but if that causes any problems, because we will still have ground frost, and I haven't got an email back, but they have all the turf, and they said they are coming and starting to install on Wednesday. So
But they won't respond whether or not frost affects it.
they haven't gotten back to me. I think it's been about 3 hours since I sent that, but so yeah, that will, I don't know. I don't like putting turf down when there's frost in the ground, but if they do it and They've done it before, they say it's okay. 'Cause we got pretty good weather coming up for 14 days after this weekend. Soccer, we started kind of marking out fields. The Soccer Association had a few changes on some fields, moving stuff around and adding some, so we measured out and made sure they all fit, and started marking some out, and then got 5 inches of snow again, so kind of on hold for that.
Any questions on his report? Okay, I did just want to take just a quick second, if that's okay. Wanted to thank Angel for everything she's done for the interim here without having a department head on staff, as well as Steve and Kevin and Jeremy are all so good at what they do. It was really easy to step in and kind of just help them out in the interim. So they do really good work, and I think everyone should be really happy that they're working for the department. Really excited to have Kevin here this week. It's his first week, so we've been kind of getting up to speed on everything. Like I said, we are working on appropriations that were not completed in 2021 that will be rolling over to 2022. Filling in the pool is one of them. Dealing with the ice compressors was one of them. Also still chasing the leak in the ice arena is another big one. So those 3 ones for sure, we're going to make sure that those get finalized in this year's budget. Additionally, Angel and I, and Steve somewhat also, have had quite a few contacts with the Kiwanis Club about the efforts they have for raising grant funds for the purchase of the Kiwanis Park equipment. We did get approval from the City Council for contingency funds if needed for the installation cost, not to exceed $20,000. I actually am able to do that as a supplemental appropriation because we had some money left in one of the other Park and Rec budgets. So that will work for next year. So they are ready to go, and they are still pretty sure that they're going to be able to get the funds raised. We have also, they must not have the right nonprofit designation. So in some instances, they are actually going to apply for a grant under the City of Mitchell, because then, or have people give donations directly to the City of Mitchell so that they can have the tax benefits of doing so. When we get those, we're just going to be designating those in the revenue account so that everybody knows that it's going to be used for the Kiwanis Park. And we've told them and staff and other people moving forward, if you have another group that's needing to raise funds for a project like that, it's very easy for us to just designate that in the Park and Rec Fund so you know it's not available to be used for anything else. So just a short update on that. Just for anybody that isn't aware, we do have the opportunity for people to submit an online application if they are interested in volunteer board positions, including this board. So if you know of someone who might be interested in the Park and Rec Board, we do those reappointments in July. So we'd like to have those in May so that the mayor can have those for the agenda in June. So I'm happy to answer any questions that's been going on for the last couple months in the kind of interim here. Your staff have done a really good job and really have a good handle on everything. We're still dealing with the ongoing issues at the pool and the pool surfacing. We've got several people involved in that, and we'll continue to move forward and give the board an update when we have an idea of an outcome. So, is there anything I can answer for you on things that have been going on, or any other items?
I guess I forgot to ask about the roof. You brought it up, I didn't realize.
It's on his list. I know that.
Yeah, it's on my list. Things have been frozen. We haven't gotten much moisture. I checked after we got the snow. It was Monday, a pretty decent day. It was melting really good and nothing was leaking. I think right now it's at a very manageable spot. I mean, over the summer it only really leaked when it rained really hard, and it was just some drips. It wasn't downpouring in 10 or 12 or 15 places. It was only really in one.
I think the good thing about the current status, though, is you have a commitment from the installers or the repair.
One of the groups that did, I think they're Great Plains Roofing, one of the groups that did some work on it said, we will come and we will find the leak and we're going to fix it. So they might be.
We're not going to stop till we find it. Right?
Yep, they might be pulling hoses up there to make it rain, kind of, but it was right. I don't know where the leak actually is, where it's coming in from.
I thought we had to have ice on the roof before it leaked. I didn't realize.
Well,
Summer too.
It did a little bit when we had really heavy rains. When the ice was there, that was before the transition,
The sticks.
and it would build up there, and then when it would melt in the spring, but now we put those 8-foot planks all the way across, so they can't build up there.
I think that, well, the only other, I guess, open item maybe carrying forward from last year is they have not quite completed the two tree contracts, or I guess one tree contract, where they were doing removal at the campground in an area around the lake. I don't know if you want to
That's
speak on that.
this year's budget. The tree thing was that one of that public access, the right-of-way.
Right, I'm talking about the campground tree removal that we started, you have a contract with it,
Yep.
we started the work on.
Yep, they started
And
work.
that's not completed yet.
That's not
so
completed, no.
That effort's still open. And then the other thing, Park and Rec Board will see probably at your next meeting is staff will need to bring to you a new design professional engineering agreement for the phase 2 of the construction design for the rec center. So there's some costs added for putting this into 2 phases, as well as adding the HVAC mechanical costs and some structural changes that they had to do in order to accommodate that. Staff really felt that it's not as usable of a space if we can't get it air conditioned. We can't use that when it's that kind of heat in there. So we really think the project needs to be completed. So there'll be a contract coming to you here in the future that will have that revision. The other item that we've kind of become aware of is that we have some of your fees and charges that you set, and some of those are required to be reviewed annually, and it looks like they haven't been reviewed maybe since 2018. So you'll probably see that on a future board, just for you to review and confirm and get that in the minutes. So really, I think that is the most of what I know of what maybe still be open for Devin as he takes over, and I can certainly answer any questions, but that's really all I have for the report.
Well, we had, we talked about the pontoon, but at the same time, we talked about the cabins too. What's going to be the status on those now with everything going on?
Currently, at this point, the city of Mitchell cannot proceed with putting cabins out by the lake because they did go out and seek approval from, there's a state law that says we have to notify all the campgrounds within 15, I think it's 15 miles, and you have to have 100% approval from all of them. A letter went out from the previous director giving the explanation of what was going to be done, and we had responses from all but one in favor. So with the one campground that has said no, it is not possible for the city to add cabins, even though we have eliminated some of our camp spots. So that's where we sit. There was an effort in Aberdeen, Brown County. They have, or actually I think it's the city of Aberdeen, they have Wiley Park. And they had an interest in wanting to expand their campground in the future. And they looked at doing a legislative change that would exempt any campgrounds owned by a municipality prior to, I think it was 1980. And as Angel filed in minutes, we were long before that. So, but that failed in committee. So, or actually failed on the floor, I believe. So we'll probably still keep pursuing that in the future, but at this point, the city really, our hands are tied. We don't have any other options to consider. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions on stuff that's came up that I can answer? If you didn't have a chance to see the presentation on bar engineering, we did record it at Monday's meeting, so if you go to the city council meeting from Monday night, it's the first item on the agenda. It's about a half hour long. They talked about where they are with the dredge project, a kind of cost estimate, as well as an estimate for doing the drawdown structure that could be added to the spillway. So I think that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't have any questions. I guess we'll move on to the tennis association agreement. I believe there's-
I'll let Steve do an introduction and explain the changes or any new items.
Yeah, this is just our yearly agreement with the tennis association. The only change in it, you guys approved the fees, I think it was last November, went up $1. And so we made that change in the contract. Just need your approval, I guess. We have Pat here, if he wants to say anything. Yeah, go up there.
Podium.
Yeah, just in case someone's watching on.
Is it on?
Nope, it's always on. You're good to go.
My name is Pat Moeller. I'm the president of the Mitchell Tennis Association. Firstly, the Hitchcock Park Tennis Complex is one of the best tennis facilities in the state, and it is something that tennis communities all over talk about and want to come and play at. And so I'm not complaining about anything at all. I'm not here to complain or criticize or anything. The relationship that we have with the park board and with Steve is great. We ask for anything, and he's on top of it for us. And I'm just really proud of everything that we've accomplished out there. The reason why I'm here, in the last 5 years, the fees that you've charged, well, they're not overly cumbersome for us, but they've increased by more than 100% over the last 5 years. And while that's okay, because all of the money that we raise is going to go back into Hitchcock Park, what I want you to understand is if these continue to increase, that's going to limit what we can do when it comes to helping out with resurfacing or helping out with lights or helping out with those other things, because we only have so much money. And so I just wanted you guys to be aware of that when you make decisions about fees and fee increases. Tennis Association, you're really taking your own money, because that money is being raised by us to make improvements to Hitchcock Park or to maintain Hitchcock Park. So I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to introduce myself so everybody knows, and if anybody has any questions for me or anything, I'm perfectly happy to answer anything. But I love working with Steve. A phone call or a text message, and he's on top of things for us, and we really appreciate everything that we've done. So, any questions or anything for me? Okay, that's all I have.
You got a motion to approve the contract?
I guess I've had a chance to look at it. This is the only difference is the fee increase? That was it? Okay.
And those we voted on in November, I think.
A second.
Does that mean 5 years ago it was $5? It went up 100%. Is that what he's saying? In 5 years it's gone up that much?
I guess I don't have the chart going back that far to tell you exactly what that was 5 years ago.
I can find it for you. If you look through your minutes, there is a few years ago, I remember a meeting where we showed historical rates, but I can't tell you what meeting it was.
Wasn't that November that you guys just set fees?
Yeah, I think so.
I have baseball, soccer, and tennis in 2016 was 0, 17 was 0, 18 was exempt, 19 was $7, 2020 was $9, 21 was $10, and this year it goes up to $11 for the players' fee.
Yeah, I think a lot of that, there was never a fee for the tennis association and their athletes, but means they were doing it for Cadwell and all the other sports. We just included them in with it.
There you go. So the first, looks like 16 through 22 is what's shown on this. This was the fees that you would have approved back at your November meeting. So is it the team fee that they charged?
No, it should be on that page there somewhere. It's the second page. It's underneath the Cadwell stuff too, I believe, ain't it, Jeremy?
Oh, on the second page from the top. Well, maybe you didn't have this one on there.
I can't see it from here.
Are you going to keep going down? Baseball, softball, or baseball, soccer, tennis.
Right there underneath
Yep.
Cadwell.
Yep.
It's the second one down under capital.
I'm sure glad you guys have better eyes.
I mean, I'm guess I'm pretty familiar with that piece because for our baseball team, we have to pay.
Oh, there you see, 0, 0, exempt,
It's
7,
similar-
9, 10,
similar
11.
type of deal, so.
So it went from $7 to $11?
Over the course of 4 years or so. I mean, last year was $10, the year before it was 9, and now it's 11, so.
And prior to that, yeah, I think it was before they were paying nothing.
Any further discussion, or are we ready to? Okay, I have a motion to approve the tennis association agreement. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say aye. Motion carried. Sports complex policy.
This is kind of a general one. They get more specific for each team. The only changes in this one is those player fees, but we also have a 13 and up goes from $20 to $21, 12 and under to $11, and our fields per day go from $34 to $35.
I have a question on the fields per day. Now, you're not charging for practice, right?
No.
When you sign them to the travel teams, it's just for games.
If you want us to come in on that day and drag the field and chalk it, then you can play as many games as you want that day for $35. If you just want to go play, get another team, come in and play each other, we don't do anything, that's no charge. Kind of the practice fee comes from the player's fee. Yep. Another change in here is we added some stuff for the turf.
What page would that be, Jamie?
There's a separate agreement. Think of that one.
Or no, not in here, that's in the turf agreement, yep, sorry.
Any questions, or entertain a motion to approve? A motion and a second to approve the 2022 Sports Complex Policy Manual. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Motion carried. Softball.
Next one, softball, same changes, this is for men's and women's slow pitch softball, but the same changes for players' fee and the game fee is the only thing that's changed.
And those are still the same fees that were set by the board in November?
Yes,
Right.
correct.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All those in favor of softball agreement, say aye. All those opposed, say no. Motion carried. Baseball.
Yep, NBA, Mitchell Baseball, same thing with player fees. This is the one on page 4 that has the added stuff for turf. No seeds, gum, chew on the turf or in the dugouts, water only on the turf and dugouts. Seeds are only allowed in the stands with the provided cups. They must be thrown away. Cleats molded in metal can only be used for games, no cleats for batting practice. Apply fill after games and practices in the high wear areas. This is for Wesleyan and Mitchell. If teams do come to rent the field, out of town teams, then we would do that the next day. Warm up on the mats provided for on-deck hitters, ramps, batter's box mats, on-deck mats, and fungos must be used during BP and stay off all the logos and the lines. Kind of some rules that I talked to a few coaches that have turf fields and the Mitchell coach and the DW coach, and we kind of came up with these for trying to make the turf last longer, treating it good. Those are the only changes in the baseball contract.
Second.
Any further discussion? How about we got a motion to approve the NBA agreement 2022? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carried. Coed Softball agreement.
Coed Softball is a little bit different. They have the same changes for players' fee and game, but game fees, they do not, Coed does not chalk for their games. So we charge half of what the regular game fee is, so that would be $17.50 this year if they continue to use no chalk.
Any further discussion? There's a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carries. All right, 2022 travel team agreement.
Travel teams, that's all of our teams that are pretty much 12 and under. Same player fee and game fee changes.
Any questions? Discussion? About that, I guess. A motion and a second to approve. All those in favor of the 2022 travel team agreement, say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carried. Soccer.
I wanted to make sure you guys got your days worth coming in today. I'm just saying.
There's a little,
Soccer is the same player fee changes and game field per day changes.
a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the 2022 Mitchell Soccer Agreement, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. All right, the next item is the 2022 concession stand lease for the hockey agreement.
Yes, this is a change from $300 to $333 to lease the concession stand for the season. What's that?
Does item C a change too, as well, for the Pepsi products?
Oh, yes, sorry. We have a contract with Pepsi that all concession stands must sell Pepsi products, and it wasn't specifically stated in there. So Justin helped me add that in. Thank you, I forgot about it.
Any questions or comments? A motion, and a second. Motion and a second to approve the concession stand lease for hockey 2022. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carried. We have the 2022 concession stand lease agreement.
This is just the regular concession stands for soccer and Drake. So the price did not change on that. The changes in here is the added language about Pepsi.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carried. 2022 concession stand lease stadium agreement.
This one changed. Price change on the stadium concessions went from $385 to $400, and the same language added in about selling Pepsi products.
Motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Without any further discussion, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. Motion carries. Uh, 2022 Dakota football agreement.
Changes in here are the player fees along with the game fees. I added something in here that I would like to recommend, and you guys can agree or disagree. We've had problems with this group of them paying on time in the past. Quite a bit of problems. There was other problems with them paying their bill with Pepsi, which is the same group. I added in here, with your approval, that they prepay for their games, and it must be 30 days to their first scheduled game. We've had a couple of checks bounce from them, payments that invoices that get sent out in October, they're not back on December 1st. They get partial payments a few weeks later and other partial payments a couple days later. 2019's payment wasn't received till I think May of 2020.
Sounds like a good idea. Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the 2022 Dakota football agreement, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. Motion carried. 2022 rental agreement for Cadwell Drake.
This is a new agreement, mainly for the turf, but also to make it a little more expensive to rent the Cadwell Stadium. Before, you could rent Cadwell for games the same price you could rent Monroe Park for games. So we have $100 for non-Mitchell teams for Cadwell. The prices for Drake for the turf, 7-inning games for high school non-Mitchell teams, $200. 9-inning game, non-Mitchell team, $300. 7 or 9 inning game for college, non-Mitchell team, $300. Only batting practice for college teams, and if they would like it, that would be an extra $100. And if a team would like to come and practice, $100 an hour for practices on the turf on Drake.
Batting practice is $50?
$50 added on, yep. If they do their pregame batting practice on the field.
And my understanding, this would be a standard form that could be used for any group coming in wanting to make the rental, right?
Yes, these are,
So you're not approving it with an individual, you're approving the format and the terms in the standard agreement.
yeah,
And it also gives the same provisions that you're requiring of your facility user agreements for the use of the turf within this rental agreement as well.
yep, down there where it says 4 rentals for Drake. Yep,
So it's a way to hold them accountable to that as well.
correct. Yep. For scheduling, all scheduling will go through the sports complex supervisor. No games or practices will be scheduled more than 2 weeks out for not for non-Mitchell teams unless approved by sports complex supervisor. And that is just to, if, say, Dakota Wesleyan has a game scheduled in 1 month and I scheduled 4 other games around those days that their game was supposed to have and they get rained out, then they have the first chance to move it to the next day or the day before. Practice times are scheduled for time change or cancellation for that reason if a Mitchell team, Mitchell High School or Teeners or Wesleyan needs to move. Game times wouldn't be canceled, but they could have time changes.
Are you going to do a calendar like you do for the ice arena, for the field availability, so people
I sure can.
wonder if that would be helpful or not? I don't know.
The calendar, well, that helps a lot of people looking for rentals, but they still call me before. That's more than I can tell them if I'm not at my computer. I don't know if March 24th at 7 on a Friday is open. Go look at the calendar and then find a date and then call me back. But yeah, I can't add that. That would be a pretty good thing so teams could look. Because if we do have a lot of rain in the spring, I think that field's going to be pretty busy.
That's what I was wondering.
Jerry, do you plan to lock Drake? Is it locked up, or like how will you plan to?
Yeah, we already added fences where we drove the drag on, and there was another opening over by that dugout. Those are blocked off. There's a gate that goes on the field to the dugout. On the third base side, we put a gate behind the dugout that latches onto the post to the backstop of the bullpen and closed off. We put an opening gate on the one end that was just open where we put our mowers in.
So someone
So that
will
one's
go and
locked.
Open it for access prior to use.
You have to jump a 6-foot fence to get on.
Yeah, so will you have to go and open it before somebody uses it every time?
If it's an out-of-town team, yeah.
Okay.
Wesleyan and Mitchell coaches will have a key.
Any further questions?
Motion to approve.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion carried. That is the last item. Looking at the calendar, it looks like April 14th at 6 PM will be our next meeting. Does that work for everyone? Okay, meeting adjourned.
We won't let Jeremy take over the agenda next time. Thank you, everybody,
Thank
for
you.
coming.